You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you.
Alright recruits, gather around. It's time for another school circle with Sergeant Gimpy. Today's lesson is going to be on spotting. Spotting is a mechanic that sets Lock and Load Tactical apart from other games of its genre. It simulates the fact that just because you might have line of sight to an opponent doesn't mean that you automatically see them and can attack them. They might be hiding within crops or ducked behind a tree or a low wall, something to that effect, and you must spot them before you can actually attack them. Now for our example, we're going to use Sergeant Scoobert and a couple of squads of Fallschirmjäger, and they're wanting to attack Major Hawkins and a couple of British squads. Since Major Hawkins is in a hex with degrading terrain, he is not spotted, and Sergeant Scoobert will have to spot him before he can conduct an attack. An easy way to take and spot the hex would be to simply move adjacent to it with a good order unit, which will automatically spot the hex. But that opens you up to opportunity fire and other things of that nature, so you might not want to move adjacent to it. In that case, you can take and make a spotting attempt to spot the hex, because when something is spotted, it's the entire hex itself, not a specific unit. So in our example, Sergeant Scoobert wants to spot this hex that Major Hawkins and his squads are in, and it's degrading terrain, so he would need to roll a 3 or under to spot this degrading terrain hex. He could use his leadership modifier to affect the die roll, meaning he could effectively roll a 4 or under to spot the hex. But what if Major Hawkins was in this building, which is blocking terrain instead? In that case, he would need to roll a 2 or under to spot the hex, and again he could use his leadership modifier to affect the roll, effectively meaning he could roll 3 or under to spot the blocking hex. Now let's say that Major Hawkins wanted to take and move into this low crop degrading hex without Sergeant Scoobert and the Fallschirmjägers seeing him and his squads make the move. He could spend his entire impulse to move, making a low crawl maneuver instead of a normal maneuver, which means he would not automatically be spotted, because any units marked with a fired, assault move, moved, or melee counter are automatically considered spotted no matter the type of hex that they're in. Now once you get done conducting your spotting check, you will mark the unit that did it with an ops complete marker, and if they succeeded in spotting the hex, you will mark it with a spotted marker. Now do keep in mind that you can only make one spotting attempt per impulse, no matter if you pass or fail, but it is not considered completing your impulse. If you fail a spotting attempt, you can still conduct another action except for another spotting attempt. The only other thing that you need to concern yourself with when it comes to spotting are stealth units and hexes within hexes. Take for example this Belgian squad here. They have a yellow square around their movement factor, which indicates they are a stealth capable squad. In that case, the only way they can be spotted is if they are marked with a fired marker, move into open terrain, or an active spotting attempt is made against them that is successful. Also, when it comes to hexes within hexes, just because one is spotted doesn't mean the other is. So in our example here, the upper floor of this building, if it were spotted, it does not mean that the lower floor would be spotted, and vice versa, and that would go for any other types of hex within hex situations such as bunkers. That concludes today's lesson. Dismissed.